It is truly a bittersweet moment right now, but I'm here to tell you it did not disappoint at all. Folks, it is time to get into my review of the final season of Andor. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the final season, season 2 of Andor, coming back to Disney Plus April 22nd. I have watched all 12 episodes and I have so many emotions, so much I want to say, so much I can't say, but nonetheless, we're going to get down to the most important thing about this. And that is, this is 1000% a must watch. I think a lot of us very firmly agree that Andor happens to be the best Disney Plus Star Wars series since, its launch. And yes, don't get me wrong, there's some other ones that are good. The Mandalorian would probably make an argument here, but I think for the true Star Wars enthusiasts, for the ones who's looking forward to truly connect to the Skywalker saga in a way that just firmly makes sense. I mean, with the Mandalorian, we know it's all canon, but one may have to wonder, well, where does this take place? How does this fit in? And don't get me wrong, the Mandalorian has the best scene in all of television with the return of Luke Skywalker. I would almost say probably the best cinematic scene of all time when Luke came back. But I just think Andor is such its own thing that when it comes down to sort of just the politics of Star Wars and, the spy espionage feel to it and still embedded into major conflict, I mean, how does it get any better? Only because the fact also it leads into what I think, arguably, again, folks feel that Rogue One is probably the best, especially as of recent, the best theatrical release for a Star Wars film. And with this being the final season, I mean, yes, we all know where this ends because it feeds directly into the start of Rogue One, to the point that I instantly cut it on once I was done watching this, just to really get a feel of the continuity and the flow. And yeah, there's some minor continuity things, but nonetheless, it just flows directly into it. But yeah, you just now have just so much more emotion. And I think it's very easy for you to say, oh yeah, we get so much more backstory about Cassian Andor, which Diego has really just been acting his butt off for both seasons and even into Rogue One. But he's not the only one. I think every single character, like Deborah Merrill, is probably one of the best written characters on this show. The total conflict by her, and Denise Gould plays her fantastic performance. But I just think Deborah's arc in this season is going to be, it's going to be something. You know what I mean? And then when I talk about this fantastic performances, Stellan Skarsgård, man, Luthen, oh man, what can we say about this character? So listen, one thing that's not a spoiler about this is that we know where this series ends, or leads into. And so when certain characters aren't appearing there, you're only left to think one or two things. Did they die, or where might they be? And I do feel they did a fantastic job in addressing every character, even the smallest character, in terms of their fate. So, that's definitely something that's going to keep you engaged. But beyond that, just performances. And I go back again to Mr. Skarsgård. I think when you really dive into this with this season, you really dive into his mental state, some of the internal turmoil that he was dealing with on a day-to-day, his relationship with his assistant slash daughter, might you say, and Kalea. Um, I just gotta tell you, and then also to kind of see her motivations in this based on their relationship, and everything that they've been through, their backstory. You're tapping into all of that. So beyond that, and it's just so much. I'm jumping around here, but truly, just bear with me. The rebellion versus the empire is obviously basically what all of Star Wars is about, except for good versus evil and, you know, light versus dark, whatnot. But like really understanding their political positions and really diving into it in a way that we've never seen. I would even go as far as saying like we're getting the military having meetings and briefings and with the empire. We kind of just seen people in position and just kind of went with it, but like understanding sort of the deliberations that they were having. Not everybody was always on board. You know, it seems to be that everybody was so pro empire, so the emperor, and that was just what they were, you know, what they were all about. But kind of see people kind of play both sides, and not play both sides in the sense of like good and bad, but play like, is there a third option here? Like you really got that with these characters. And again, I look at Deborah, her art is fantastic in this. But here's my thing, and I made a little joke in my notes, but Andor, and is anybody who likes Rogue One, Andor season 2, 100% is the Scorsese, the Snyder cut, the director's extended version, extra bonus content version of that film, because it really does iron out every single arc, every single character, you know, really expanding the world, really giving you sort of perspective from so many different things. And obviously we know this is all about the Death Star, the creation of the Death Star, you know, how secret of a mission that the Death Star and the plans were about it, you know, how people were sort of fooled on both sides. Like it is truly all about that. And as broad as a statement that is, it 100% covers every single probably aspect or question about it that you may have. Now, with that being said, I got to tell you, episode 8 is heartbreaking and so on so many accounts. And episode 9 was just going to break your heart all again. This is to kind of give you 2 episodes to really keep an eye out for. The finale obviously is going to have a lot. I mean, the very last moment of the finale is definitely jaw dropping, and you kind of wonder like, oh my God, what could this mean? Everybody knows about Galen Erso, and I think the way how Galen is sort of constructed in this really gives you sort of Oppenheimer vibes. And if you've recently seen the movie Oppenheimer, you knew just the importance Oppenheimer was for the creation of the weapon of mass destruction here. How is that no different from somebody who helped create and engineer the Death Star? And we know, again, Rogue One, but like just really seeing that be built up, because in Rogue One, you kind of just had it short-lived. They absolutely gave credit where credit is due in terms of why he was just that important, and also why things happened the way it did happen in that. Listen, I love Bix. That's a name I have not mentioned. I'm going to tell you that Bix continues to be one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars. Bix is such a badass. There's so many good moments. There's going to be it's going to be one of the most insane arcs in this. And I got to tell you, I stand by Bix. Every decision that Bix make, everything that Bix do, fantastic character for 2 seasons. Wait till you see. That's all I can say about that one. I think the only other thing I can really say is, again, going back to like seeing how really the politics on both sides. I mean, because we all have a sense of, feels like everybody's just always on the same page. Even with the rebels, you feel like everybody's on the same page. But even with Mothra, she had her moments, where she was unsure, but she has a defining moment in this that really, really, really sets the path forward for everything we know she's to become down the line. But I love Mon, and I think that Genevieve, is just probably, she's such a legend, a legacy but legendary actor in terms of Star Wars, and all she does one. But like really seeing her be able to breathe so much more life into this character once again, Mon is definitely going to really set some interesting things forward. That's for sure. There's so many people I could talk about, and I could probably make this review go longer and longer and longer. But the one thing I will say is that, without a doubt, this is a fantastic series. It will, for some, feel slow because it ain't always high ramped on the action, but it's the drama, it's the stakes, it's the performances, it's really the carving out of these characters, their arcs. So the writing, the directing, like it is what you want when you talk about having a series, and when you're talking about, wanting to make sure that no rock is unturned. This is that. Good villains, good heroes, conflict because of Star Wars. Characters that you may have thought have once been your hero could possibly not be. Seeing two people that you say, oh, easily they'll get along because they're on the same side, and it's not actually true. Obviously, you're going to have some double agents out there, people playing both sides. You're getting all of that, and it's such a dangerous game, so the point that you're always at the edge of your seat just wondering, like, oh my God, what could be next, And then there's droids, the K2 units, and Alatrudek is once again fantastic with his banter, his one-liners and all that. But like, yeah, then you get that, you're going to get some action, of course. I thought there were some good cinematic shots. The one particular hallway shot, probably like the 10th or 11th episode, was doing a rescue that I thought was done very, very well. And then for all these folks who have been with these characters for so long in their life, and even some of the folks that's only been a part of this since Andor, I mean, what a love letter to the fans. They did a fantastic job. This is the final season. And of course you're like, oh, we want so much more. But like, I love how this was exactly what it needed to be. The length it needed to be. The story that it needed to feel. This is all what I thought Disney Plus was going to be about since its creation, in terms of telling us stories, giving us that backstory, those gaps that we didn't have. Star Wars has executed that to the T in every single medium that they have. Animated, their original specials, and even their series, like they just nailed it over and over and over. And this is no different. Huge shout out to the entire cast, everybody involved. Andor season 2, completely a must watch. So much fun. And I really can't wait to see, considering Star Wars Celebration, the other things that are coming down the line, because they're on fire with this one. And this one is definitely one that should be celebrated. It will be missed. But there's still so much Star Wars to come. So Andor, season 2, April 22nd on Disney Plus. There's 12 episodes. You want to be locked in for each and every one of them. 8 and 9 got so much emotion to them. 12 is definitely going to be a jaw-dropping moment. There's good action in 11. And then even all the ones before that, they're building so much tension. So much conflict. So much fantastic performances. You will have a good time. Once you check it out, folks, jump in the comments. Let me know your thoughts about this one. And as always, stick around for more reviews and content here at Big Gold Belt Media very soon. Thank you for watching, folks.
Prequels.